Okay, we're back for our 11 o'clock business meeting with, and we'll start with Public Works.
Morning, Commissioners. Mike Moss, Public Services Director. Couple items to start with from maintenance today. The very first item you have is the alternate bid award for the jail HVAC. This is actually an item for tomorrow's Tuesday's 9 a.m. meeting. I gave you guys a couple handouts there. One was the actual bids that we got in on September 27th. On top of it, you see JH Kelly and also Apex. JH Kelly was the low bid, and they added on, we asked for in the specs an alternate one for heat recovery coils. And you can see their number came in at $305,000. We talked about this about a month ago with you guys, that JH Kelly looked at it a little bit closer and found out they could do it actually for $22,000 and some change. So that's what's on the agenda tomorrow is the alternate bid award for JH Kelly to do this alternate one for a lot less than they initially thought they were going to do it for. So we appreciate JH Kelly for researching this a lot closer, finding out that can do it for almost 1/10 of the price. And so.
So that brings the total bid from that to that project down to just under 619 then.
Exactly right. Yes. Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
So I figured it might be easier. Last time we had some challenging times. Explain it to you guys. We figured we'd give you the contract or the paperwork from the first initial bid and also the alternate bid award that we signed last month so they could actually order that product. So it has been ordered. And I believe Will's here to tell us, I think it still might be August, September.
Yep. Yeah.
So I know we talked about this and I've forgotten again. So this is an additional cost rather than a replacement of the original bid.
Correct. It's additional cost, but a lot cheaper than the alternate was going to be. Yes. The initial bid was for $593,959. That was awarded. We actually awarded that bid on November 1st last year for $593,000. And then that's when they went further into detail to look at the alternate heat recovery coil replacement. And actually that's when they came back with and found it a lot cheaper than initially thought in their initial bid.
So they discovered that they really had to do a lot. They had to replace this major part.
Yeah.
Okay, and then did we go out again because you've got a quote from Apex, or that was on the original quote?
Apex also gave an alternate bid for $286 on that first time also. So we did not go back out to bid for that.
Okay, that's just from the original effort.
Correct. I believe they actually found, and Will can explain more, I think they found the units that these actually built in rather than being an add-on, like a whole completely different unit. This is actually, JH Kelly found a model that actually had these heat recovery coils built into the unit. That's why it was so much cheaper than the $300,000.
So I'm probably a little pestiferous here. I apologize. It was a good weekend. I've forgotten everything. So the original bid included the base bid plus the alternate bid.
Correct, but we did just contract for the base bid. We did not contract for the alternate.
Right, and then subsequent to some effort, we've recanted and said, yeah, we do need the replacement or the heat recovery coil replacement.
Correct.
Okay, so we're comparing apples to apples between Apex and JH Kelly.
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you. Thank JH Scully too.
Yeah, they saved us in the county a lot of money, so we appreciate that from JH Kelly. Item 2 we have on here is actually some direction, asking for direction a day from the annex building next door here, their temporary chiller. We got a quote in for a temporary chiller for this summer, a 40 unit AC unit or 40-ton AC unit for the rooftop over there. It's for 4 months, really probably for June, July, August, and September. and it's $43,000 for this temporary unit. We are replacing that unit for the fall, but it will not be in place for this summer. So we're asking direction from the BOCC if we want to go with temporary units or that we could possibly rent like we did last year, very similar to the model you have in the back room back there. They rent about $600 a month. Your main leasee over there is COG. Maintenance also has 3 people in the second floor, and in the basement is only noxious weeds. I believe they're mainly in the field during the summer months. So this is mainly probably more for COG than anybody for the summer months. So it'd have to be a contract that'd be coming in front of you if you guys decide to go with the temporary chiller on the rooftop for approximately $43,000. Or, like I said,
As opposed to.
Yeah.
The consoles.
yeah, we can get 2 or 3 of those, work with Mr. Bill Fashing over there, see how they'd work in certain areas. I don't know exactly how that was broke down. Those work pretty good in an open area, but I don't know how their offices are broke down, how many walls, they have the meeting space area that's closer to the maintenance side. Yeah, it'll be challenging, but at the same point, we could probably get 3 or 4 of those units. Like I said, that'd be a couple grand per month compared to $10,000 per month, which is what the chillers are doing. So.
Me personally, I'd try and, if you're just asking me personally, that would be my first. Yes, because we're basically serving the second floor.
Correct.
I think so too. I think we go with the cheaper.
Yeah, we
cheaper
do.
alternative.
I did forget to ask you some questions, which was, we did not have AC in the building originally.
We did. The chiller has been out for a couple of years. Last year, there was a temporary unit on the rooftop, and I believe the total price was in the $60,000 range, if not higher, for the summer months. That's before maintenance came to public services, not to. We probably would have questioned it a little bit more coming your direction because it's a chunk of change for 1 or 2 departments there. That's why it came to us again this summer or this spring saying, what are we going to do this summer? That's when we saw the price is like, we better go get some direction rather than just saying yes and putting a temporary chiller on the roof.
So we have 43K on one side. What's on the other side then?
6 months, 12. No, 4, 8 grand, 8 grand.
Seems like a no-brainer, doesn't it?
And then we'll be fixed by next summer.
Yes,
It won't be an issue.
correct.
Yeah.
I don't know. It may be cheaper to just.
Hey, can we get a signature on that? promise?
I'll be excited for you.
I got him on tape there.
Okay.
Okay.
I got your direction. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Just reminding you of the Building and Planning Advisory Committee on Thursday. Should be a good discussion. We've got lots of stuff in the hopper, and we're really utilizing the committee to move things forward. So anxious and excited to. We didn't meet last month. I wanted to get stuff under my belt as well as moving some substance forward. So we've got some good movement. We're working on the private road. So the 25-foot road frontage, Planning Commission meets Wednesday night. And so I believe they are submitting or sending 3 of their members to start joining the BPAC as well. So our group is growing substantially. So they won't be, they'll just be an audience member of the public, but it's good, I guess, to have the crossover there. So it'll be good.
And do we have any vacancies on that BPAC?
You have a realtor right now, but one of the planning commission members that is going to be attending is a realtor. So my hope is that they become the realtor nominee. We'll see if there's interest on Thursday.
Uh, What time is the BPAC meeting?
At 2 o'clock in the general meeting room.
Thank you.
Yes. So tomorrow on your
It's
agenda,
on Thursday.
Thursday at 2. Tomorrow on your agenda, number 19, it's the interlocal agreement between our department and the Cowlitz Conservation District. And that is our Voluntary Stewardship Program. The board gave me the head nod for the approval to work with them. We have offered them $50,000 of our current contract that we will not be spending between now and the end of June. And then $220,000 for the following 2 years. So we're only retaining 15,000 of all of that. The rest will go to them for all of their projects, and they will continue to do our VSP program. Just giving you a heads up. And then staffing update. I had one of my senior planners give me their letter of resignation this morning. They don't actually have a job they're going to. They're just leaving the county. So they're originally from Texas. I'm not sure if they're moving back. I've not got any direction on that one yet. And then on my way up here, my nuisance abatement officer is leaving us to go to Thurston County, which is closer to his home. He currently lives on the north side of Lewis County. So he said it's a closer commute and more money. So, but that's my question to the board. I'm going to turn it around to you guys. He is our nuisance abatement officer. He's the one where we get solid waste not solid waste. That's Andrea. Complaints, people are building without a permit. What's my neighbor doing? The marijuana facilities, he's been doing follow-up with that and doing some site visits. So I don't know if the board, at the senior planner position, I currently have a position open. It was Wayne's position. We're currently recruiting for that. I'm only recruiting for that position. The new one that just gave me the resignation, I'm going to hold off and see what our staffing loads do. But the nuisance abatement one, I guess I'm asking the board because it is a general fund position that we pay for out of our department. But I don't know the board's pleasure and if that's something that you want me to continue to do in our department, or if there's a need. They're substantially busy, but I'll follow board lead on this one.
I haven't probably been around enough to know how much stuff has been abated. I mean, how much has been helped or,
He came and gave a update last quarter. We could have him give another one before he leaves. Gladly, we could do that next week if that works for the board.
could we do that? Some kind of the problems he encounters and what's
Yep,
been
Absolutely.
helped over the time to make.
Okay,
I just like to make sure if we're gonna spend the money
I agree.
that it's helping out there.
It's one of those interesting positions where ideally, we never hear from them because they're doing
Correct.
their job.
Correct.
But that
Yeah.
could also be they're not doing their job. So, I guess I have to trust staff and the evaluation of whether it's been a useful thing.
It's been useful for our department. A lot of the complaints go to him first,
Mhm.
and then he does a lot of the follow-up or requests for investigation. He gets a form in or a request in, he takes a look at it and sees what they're doing, if they have a permit, if they don't, if they need one, and then follows up with them. It's a good follow-up position. It takes a lot off of, I think, Mike and Wayne being managers, but I'll follow the board's lead on that one. I can have him give you an update next week. We can go from there if you'd like.
Let's do that.
Okay.
I'd appreciate that. yeah.
Absolutely. That's all I had. Just want to give the board update.
A quick question. You've heard issues about nuisance abatement in the past, well
Yes.
before your current assignment. Have you drawn any conclusions like it worked best as you could tell, or you're not quite sure yet, needed more time?
I think it works, and I also think it's the person in the position that makes that position work. It's kind of the right, handle the applicant with kid gloves and get them through the process of permitting if they're building without a permit. It's getting the encouragement from the site visit, the field, the contact, and getting them in the door and doing what's right.
So there is some element that,
There is a lot of value to that position,
Okay.
especially when they can get it from when they're first starting their project and bringing it in. A lot of times, we get the after the fact or after a long weekend of someone's done a ton of stuff to their property, over the weekend that we're not here. And so we get in and the project's almost done before we get to them. But, we're not out looking for we're not out looking for problems. They do come to the door.
we get occasionally people complaining about their neighbors and they use any handle possible, including they don't have a permit for doing X, Y, Z. Are you seeing these things?
We get a lot of those, a lot of nosy neighbor, and then they want to tattle on their neighbor. And a lot of times the neighbor is doing something that they do need a building permit for. So we do reach out. We make contact with them, whether it be in the field or by mail, and we do get them, a lot of them in the door and work them through the process.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Facilities, anything there?
Good morning. I have a long, drawn-out list for you today.
Okay.
So my first item is kind of an IWOW update. There was a meeting last week during your regular meeting that we had a staff member attend to update what WashDOT's plans are. For those of you who are not aware, there is no money in the 23-25 biennium budget. So WashDOT's current plan is to put it to bed, was how they put it, to put it to the side. They have no money to continue working on it. The COG is planning on working with Senator Wilson to pursue a study of the Lewis and Clark Bridge to try and roll this into a single larger project. Where we're doing some bridge replacement and work at that intersection. So that is where it's sitting. It is just sitting with nothing moving forward.
Did they share at all their intentions with the property that was purchased where the buildings were torn down?
They did not share what their intentions were with those properties. I think their intention was to put it to the side for 2 years and see what happens, to see if the project is revitalized. It currently has a $230 million budget, and they have about $98 million available. So if it hadn't been removed, they only had 98 because we started this process so long ago.
Yep.
So then the next item is, Mike has it down here as Rink Road vacation. So it is actually an unnamed right-of-way, excuse me, off of Rink Road. So to give a little history, especially for Commissioner Dahl, who has not been here since the beginning of this project. So Nick Massey and his wife are trying to develop a parcel that's accessed by unopened right-of-way. It's about a half mile of unopened right-of-way to their parcel. They're trying to divide that into 8 lots. So when the process started, we were working with him to issue a trail permit to build an access road back to the parcel within the right-of-way. And that's how we go about it with trail permits. He obtained the permit and started constructing the road, and he found he could not fit it in that 30-foot right-of-way. So now his hope is to vacate the 30-foot right-of-way, and this wants to be his path moving forward. So he has applied per the county code 1240-040, and has requested that we start the process to vacate that unopened right-of-way. So what I am asking from you is the process once he applies. The board needs to direct the county engineer to go ahead and create an engineering report, create that report, bring it back to you. excuse me, and then once that it's been reviewed, decide whether we were going to move forward with vacating that roadway.
I went out there and we're talking not about the access onto Rink Road. We're talking about partway down the hill or where he makes a left turn and he's got to get he's crossing a ravine or something like that.
So we're talking about that whole portion that runs parallel to the ravine, because that is where the unopened county right-of-way is. The one to cross it is him getting into his own parcel. So that would be a private road on his parcel accessed by the trail permit on county right-of-way. But his proposal is to vacate it and develop a private road there and a private road in his parcel.
There was some issue about alignment. He thought the right of way was here and it was actually not there.
Yes.
And that's what we're really talking about, just accommodating that.
Partially, yes. So he needs to get this vacated and then he will have to get easements over his neighbor's parcels in order to construct the private road.
And there was a discussion that this had been in history quite a while where that right of way might have turned into a county road going someplace.
Mhm.
That's not in the cards at all, as I understand it.
If it could be, if it was properly developed along that alignment and up into his parcel, there's no reason it couldn't be developed into a county road, but it is not something that I have planned to develop.
Yeah, for Rick, a lot of these right of ways were established eons ago.
Mhm.
So I'm looking at the map that we have for Ring Road. You're only talking about the portion at the south end or the whole road?
It's not on Rink Road at all. It's Rink Road. There's an unopened portion that's perpendicular to it. Let me see if I have the map in here. So there's along Rink Road. I don't have a scale on this drawing. So this lower line is Rink Road, and then there's one that comes off 90 degrees. It is not named at this point.
So he wants to vacate that one and establish another one.
He wants to establish a private road easement.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it'd do basically the same thing, but he'd work with his neighbors to get the easement through the other. Sounds reasonable. I mean,
Did he, everything was okay at the intersection with the Rink? Or is that kind of all included?
So it would be all included, the intersection of the unopened all the way back, he would vacate it.
So you get back the width required to meet your standards?
On Rink itself?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could ask for that.
if he's asking to do a private road, it's probably gonna be more substantial than what he had at first.
It would be the exact same
That exact
requirements.
same thing, okay. All right,
So you guys would like me to proceed and develop the engineer's report? All right.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it. It's his district.
It's always my district.
It seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So the next on my list is the interagency agreement that we discussed in April about the Mount St. Helens ash. So the attorneys have gone back and forth and agreed on all the language. And the state is asking who at the county is signing, because they do everything electronically. So the question is, who would you like to sign, and are you ready to proceed? Doug is satisfied with the agreement.
Would that be the county engineer?
I believe in the past it was the chairman, but if you would like me to sign, because they have someone from they have signing Bonnie Lindstrom, their contracts administrator. So if you would like to delegate the authority for me to sign, we can run it that way also.
I'm okay with that. You guys?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay.
That'll teach you to ask a question.
Yes, yes, it will. So the next item, I'm sorry, I have so many today, is a compost ordinance. So RCW 4319A150, which is part of the organics management law, requires all counties and cities with over 25,000 people to adopt a compost procurement policy. So what you have in front of you is the draft of the ordinance that I have worked up using model ordinances and what has been adopted by other counties. This would require us to acquire compost projects in projects that we're working on for public works, parks, and landscaping. There is a general policy included that it has to be compost product. We do not have to use compost products if they are not available within a reasonable period of time. Compost products that are available do not comply with existing purchasing standards. Available compost products do not comply with federal, state, health, quality, or safety standards, and compost purchase prices are neither reasonable nor competitive. There is also a provision in here for local purchasing. Local is described as a 50-mile radius around the transfer station. And I came up with that based on what other counties are doing. They're putting approximately the same 50-mile radius on their main transfer stations for waste. The other items that this includes is reporting. Annual reporting of how much we have, what composted material we have used.
So it sounds like this is something that we can use on the mallet project.
Composted materials, yes. But this is also, so when we're doing public works projects, a common stormwater device is compost amended soil. So that would be, we could use this procurement for that.
How did we deal with that before that, or how do we deal with it now if we don't have this?
We specify composted material and it,
And you go buy it.
yes.
Okay, so this isn't going to change your life at all.
The only change will be like this North Pacific Avenue, we use 10 cubic yards of composted material. I put that on a list. So when I have to report it, I have it available without having to dig. That's how it's changing my life.
If the stuff they want us to use is available in our, within this 50-mile radius, is it more expensive?
Maybe. I haven't done any research on it, but there is those caveats of reasonable time period, and the purchase prices are neither a reasonable nor competitive. We wouldn't have to buy it from that location.
Okay. Do we have don't we have a similar thing with weed-free rock if we can find it on federal projects? Don't we have to use, and there's something on weed-free rock if it's available?
I'd have to
Noxious
go.
weed-free rock.
Oh, noxious weed, right? Yes. Oh, we do have to use weed-free rock.
So
But
this is kind of a similar concept.
yes, this is them to encourage people to compost more, develop facilities that sell compost materials because all the public works projects in the state are now using it. So therefore, isn't it great if we have them?
So if somebody wanted to build a business, they could
Yes.
start developing that, they'd have a customer.
So what are your plans for the education outreach? Since that's going to be a new requirement for you.
So my plan is heavily borrowing somebody else's pamphlet or fact sheet, changing all the verbiage to Cowlitz County and including it in a billing cycle for county residents.
Yeah.
And having that material available in our front lobby. Similar to what we do with stormwater.
Post at the landfill? I don't need an answer.
This is designed to provide a market for the putrescent stuff that we hope to get into our landfill.
Mhm.
But the state says we don't want to have that in, but we need it for our other plans.
So other jurisdictions have to adopt curbside compost, but we have been working with ecology, and because of our county's layout, we are currently not required to do that.
So if I could follow up on your statement, Dennis, could you flesh that out? Are you concerned that we might be undermining our landfill?
Well, the state's policy is to undermine our landfill, right? Yeah. Diverting, it's diverting stuff that decays.
So how does that? Yeah, it takes me a while to digest things.
It-
How does that follow from this?
It follows that we are a tool of the state. The state changed their policy to discourage municipal solid waste in our landfill by diverting it to making another market available.
How do I read that in here that I'm going to be losing? Because you're thinking somebody will start a company up?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's always that's always the case even before this, isn't it?
And like Susan mentioned about curbside recycling for or compost, we're exempt from that right now, but down the road, who knows what, where we trend, maybe in 5 years, that's not the case. Well, if they're curbside compost bins, then there'll be less going to the fill.
Right, but that
But not currently.
requires an organization to spring up and all that. And does
Or it would be a requirement through your transfer station and be currently waste
as the
control.
rules change. but
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I'm just thinking down the road. It's just a little bit at a time. They're going that direction. Yeah.
So this really doesn't affect consumers at this point in time, but it's probably going to affect them at some point in time.
Down the road. Yeah.
But that's what I want to understand, but it's, do you figure this is the nose of the camel in the tent?
Yes.
How would you undo that? You basically.
That's more of a political question.
It's a
It's not a
political,
staff
yeah.
question. It's a political question. Got to change leadership in Olympia. They're the ones that want us to adopt urban standards.
So what
The
department?
big,
is
the big
that for you
cities are
folks?
already doing that.
Yeah, but
Ecology.
let me translate my question is,
Mhm.
how would you change this and still meet? I mean, you're bringing this to us because you say, I have to.
Yes.
And I'm going to say, what is it in here we can take out such that I don't have a have to in it? Or you say, all of this is a have to, or there's just,
This is my understanding of what we have to. I tried to minimize it compared to like a King County's ordinance or one of the other larger, more urban, green
I
places.
noticed you didn't include anything about composting humans, though.
No, there's no composting, the worm farms that for composting humans. There's nothing included on that topic
Okay.
in there.
So in other words, based on your review of other counties' ordinances, this has taken out the most onerous aspects of other more urbanized counties that require.
Yes, this is trying to meet the requirements with the minimum amount of effort and red tape on us as possible.
Okay, and if you had to guess on your perfectly clear crystal ball, we're talking about a negative outcome for us in 5 years, 10?
It would depend on what the politics after the next election are. Are we going to continue down this heavy green path that we're on where we're supposed to
Okay, yeah.
removing methane?
You-
I don't have a good answer.
So this was in response to a bill passed in 22. Yeah,
Yes,
so.
Yes, this was supposed to be adopted last year. Was supposed to be adopted by December 31st.
Well, I'm thinking we'll sort of table this until 2028, right?
At least 2025.
Yeah.
Hey, behave yourself. So you're bringing it to her attention, but it has to be on an agenda at some point in time? is what you're
Yes, so I
asking.
was bringing it to your attention to see if there was any other direction or any items you'd like changed, that we could have that discussion before I put it on the agenda.
Okay.
I was potentially putting it on for next week to have the call for hearing 3 weeks after that. So a mid-June call for a mid-June hearing.
And
Yeah.
Doug has looked this all over.
Yes,
That's what I heard. Yeah.
I like your section 2 clauses. Means you don't have to do anything in terms, yeah.
yes.
Okay.
It's the season show today.
That's
So
fine.
on your agenda tomorrow is property from Warehouser out at the end of Oswalt Lane. So we've been working with Warehouser since 2019 on vacating the last 7/10 of a mile of Oswalt Lane. Oswalt Lane is at the end of Melton, which comes off of Delameter. So it is a very narrow road. There are two houses on it, and then it hits the power lines, and then it just goes back to timber property.
Off the Delameter. Well, okay.
So they had requested in 2019 that we vacate this roadway beyond that point so they can drop a gate because they're having issues. So we've been working with them. They have this area will be for a turnaround. So at the end of the road, and then the continued portion would come off the end of it. They are working on getting me copies of the last easements because there are two or three private ownerships beyond there that isn't Warehouser or Sierra Pacific. So setting up easements along this entire length that we're going to vacate for those people to still have access rights. So that is where we are in the process. So this is the easement for us to construct the turnaround, which we've already staked out and it's graded out and is ready to go. And they are very happy that they would to be this far in the process because they are starting to log that section. And so they've got more people coming in and out. They have also done some improvements along the right of way. They've removed some trees to make it wider for their trucks going through there so they can pass.
The private landowners, I'm assuming must have been in this process and are okay with it. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
46th Avenue reconstruction project. So on your agenda tomorrow, there's an interlocal agreement with the city of Longview to do joint public works projects. And in addition, there's a county road project resolution for the 46th Avenue project. I don't know the milepost off the top of my head. Oh, 0.52 to 0.55. That is north of Ocean Beach Highway, just the first approximately 3 lots. And then from there on is City Street. And that's going all the way to the cutoff slough, beyond the cutoff slough, which is Olympia Way. The city has worked and obtained grants, numerous grants to be able to fund this work, and they would like to do the construction this summer. So the interlocal agreement allows for the joint bidding of projects, and the county road number is creating our project number as a vehicle to pay for it. Our portion of the project would be $67,500.
Yeah, we talked about this one before too.
Yes,
This is the road that heads over to Robert Gray
yes.
in that area, yeah.
It's just an overlay, right?
Pardon me?
It's just an overlay or,
It's a full reconstruction. They're full reconstruction, including bike lanes and the addition of sidewalks. They are also on as part of their project, upgrading their water and sewer system, and the storm system along there will be upgraded as part of the road reconstruction.
and crossing the cutoff slough is just a regular culvert, or do you know?
They're going to, they're pulling the bridge that's out there and they're doing an open bottom culvert. The total project cost for everything, it's a $5.86 million project. That includes all the road work, design, and their sewer work that they're doing out there. And water, sewer and water work they're doing out there. So our portion would be $67,500. They've received grant funding from both TIB and STPBG, which is WashDOT money. So they have over $4.27 million in grants. Then they have money coming out of their water and sewer fund to do those, to make up this $5.86 million.
So this is an interesting section of political gerrymandering, I guess. Gerrymandering is not quite the right word. The city limits actually is adjacent to the road right away. It's right along the road rather than the middle of the street. Otherwise, our part would be much, much greater. So it's this, to the northwest near the cutoff slough. That's unincorporated. That's part of the county. But we don't have to pay for repaving that stretch because the entire road bed is inside the city limits. It's weird. Typically, they annex everything but
Right.
the road right away. So it's all our job. This time it's a little bit different. I don't know if we have the boundary review board to thank for that. At some annex a long time ago, because those borders have been there for an awful long time. So. Interesting.
So then my final, not Mike's, on the list for today is there are 2 CRPs on the agenda for Kalama River Road culvert replacements. These are projects we've been working on for many years. They're both undersized culverts on Kalama River Road. We have all of our right-of-way and we have all of our permits. Originally, we were going to do a contracted project, but working with the road crew, they feel that these are 2 good projects for them to undertake this summer. So this is the documentation to change it from a advertised project to a county forces project. So the prices are dropping from, they were both about $300,000 to one's down to $160,000 and the other's down to $180,000. So it's good work for our crews and it'll save the taxpayers some dollars.
So both of them for about the price of one,
Yes.
pretty close. Yeah, good.
I take it these are not fish barrier removals.
So one of them is, but I don't remember if you recall, I know Commissioner Dahl wasn't here. We get a pass, an unusual pass from Fish and Wildlife because there's a barrier downstream and there's only about 200 feet upstream that's passable by fish, so that we did not have to make the one a fish passage.
at those prices, it's not a bit, it's not a barrier removal.
Well, better do them before they change their mind.
That's about the same distance as Rock Creek though, isn't it? Let's not go there.
Okay? No, I don't think so.
We've got solid waste advisory committees on the list.
Yeah, going back to the facilities and maintenance, it says $24,000 in the announcement. Are we really talking $24,000
Yeah.
increase?
Yeah, $24,000 increase. The change order here was, or not change order, alternate bid was 22,576 plus tax. The tax was a separate line item on the agreement here.
Okay, yeah.
Bind them for the Tuesday agenda to include the tax. So that's. why
Right,
it's
right. No,
24,000.
it's just that the language of alternate is very confusing. Because I had interpreted this as we had a base bid and then decided that we really needed to the heat recovery coil, so we should be looking at 305,000.
Correct.
But the public meeting tomorrow says 24,000.
Correct.
Right, so
Yeah.
we had already done the commitment. I just don't remember back our approval. Did we approve the original bid at 593 plus 281?
Yep. Yeah, that was November of last year. They were out for 593, 950. As part of the bidding process, contractors are also asked to provide alternate bids for replacement of the heat recovery coils. It is found to be required once the project began.
Okay, and so this is really a change order. We're seeing $24,000.
Well, it could be viewed that way, but if I think that's why they bid it out. So it wouldn't be a change order. They knew that was going to be recovery system would probably have to be in place. They didn't know exactly how to spec it out, I believe. So they put it in there as an alternate.
Yeah, but the difficulty I have is we're singling only the labor out, and I've not seen that before.
On the initial one. We do that in most of our projects through maintenance. They'll have material in one.
You follow what I'm questioning?
I'm not sure.
So in our agenda for
Right.
tomorrow, we're showing 24,427 and 23 cents, and that's understandable. That's the labor plus the tax. However, yeah, I'm confused as to why we're not approving. What changed? Did we all of a sudden add labor when we thought we had no labor?
Maybe Susan can help.
Since I haven't been involved in this as much, maybe I can figure out. So I believe when you awarded the base bid for the 593, and JH Kelly then did some more research and found that the materials, if they, so we were looking at, we also had an alternate one, and they were the lowest combined bidder if we were doing the base and the alternate. So they were awarded the base bid only at whatever date you guys did it in the fall. And after they were awarded, they did some more research and found a different material that they could purchase for the alternate. So this is the difference between, you can tell me I'm wrong, this is the difference between the base bid. Now this is the additive to do the alternate, because you awarded the 593 and now we're awarding the base with the alternate, but they found a cheaper alternate. So it's not the additional 395. The additional material and labor is 24,000. Is that what?
See why I'm confused?
That what you all are, I'm assuming that's what y'all are doing.
So the 24,000 is actually, so the total cost to us is going to be 593,950 plus 23 the 24,000. Not the 281 in there.
Correct. Which is the new number, which is $619,000.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the alternate bid award, the one page has a number on the bottom. So I view this a little different than a change order. To me, a change order, you're in the process of doing something and conditions arise that you have to change something along the way. This is actually was planned out. They just didn't have all the information, know exactly how to do the heat recovery coils.
I recall the original explanation and made sense. I just,
Yeah.
you terribly
some-
confused me by adding this.
Well, I wanted you guys to see that actually it was gone out that way and actually bidded that way last fall, that this wasn't an add-on later down the road. Actually, when they spec'd this out last summer, they actually were looking at alternate number one. And so it wasn't really a change order as much as just this was needed for the project.
Difference
Thank you.
between the 24 and the 22 is the sales tax.
Yeah, that part never bothered me. It's the, are we actually paying another 281,000? And the answer is no, we're not.
So I don't know how the best way to explain that tomorrow.
Fortunately, we're gonna say.
We'll try and help.
The Dennis had that's all prepared and he's not here, so we'll skip.
We had an explanation, but he's taking his wife to the hospital, so.
One last sheet here, and this is. As you may be aware that Solid Waste Advisory Committee, the roster, there's quite a few people whose terms have expired. So Sean brought this to my attention last week and asked me to bring it up today with you guys. There's actually four positions that have expired in the month of March and one that's still open, the large industry for the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. So the city of Longview, the large industry, the small cities, and the citizen all expired March 15th. So just want to put that in the forefront for us probably to go out and advertise, get some resumes on board. So we'll probably try to meet SWAC in the next month or two. So I'm sure maybe the cities will probably, the two cities might put the same person on board. I'm not sure.
How often does a SWAC meet?
Usually once to twice per year. They were meeting quite often monthly when they're putting together the solid waste management plan, but usually it's a one or two times a year.
And they're completely an advisory committee, right?
Correct. So I don't know if Kelly, if this is currently advertised out there. If not, we can put something, if you need a little paragraph too, we can find something to help you.
So
Yes.
the second large industry that traditionally has been the Longview Fiber West Rock position. And they've
Correct.
not been, it's Wayne or something. right?
Wayne Wooster, yeah.
Right, right. And they've never,
No,
are they even aware they're entitled?
yes. We'll reach out.
Okay,
Have you gotten applications for reappointment?
We don't receive them here in the office. They usually go to the clerk of the board.
so we'll get something out, right?
Right. Thank you.
I can see that'll be a county ordinance for conscription. County code.
Yeah.
That's all we have today, unless you guys have any more miscellaneous items for us.
I did have a question. The summer months are upon us. Are we planning any kind of a special event to open the new park on Helen? Oh, it's
No.
not ready to be opened or?
Yeah, we're with Alyssa and that's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I see we've got a 10th anniversary coming up in a few days, or last week?
Last for the gun range? Yeah, that was, I believe, last Saturday.
Saturday. Amazing, 10 years. It seems like a lifetime. Because of who you had to work with to get it going. Enough said.
Yeah, actually met with them last week at the gun range, I believe Wednesday afternoon, and got a small laundry list of items for upkeep out there, but it's going well. Getting ready to chip seal the back parking lot, going towards the trap houses this summer. So
Neat.
almost done with the RCO grant #1. And then, yeah, we'll move on to restrooms. Hopefully get that paperwork in this summer from the, Alyssa Dunn said that probably in June we'll get the grant paperwork for the restroom facilities out there.
All right.
Okay,
Do you have any numbers of out of the gun range?
Like, I believe that he's back, they are back according to Steve Nelson, the pre-COVID shooting numbers. So I believe that's in the 3,000 to 4,000 shooters per year.
Yeah, individuals unduplicated? No.
No, I don't know about non-duplicated.
Yeah, okay.
They actually got approval from DOT and have their signs already made. They just got to get them installed to have signage off of I-5.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And the exit's got a lot busier, of course, now with Space Age fueling station at exit 52 there.
it's much busier at that intersection now.
Yeah.
And then I know they're looking to, I don't know if they've sold it, but the space right next to Space Age is
I saw that Space Age are
available for development too.
expanding, already adding more fuel pumps to the location.
Yeah, Space Age is already adding more fuel
It's
pumps.
crazy.
It's kind of amazing how long we went without something there, and then it seems to have certainly hit a niche.
It's hit a real niche. It's,
Yeah.
I know I'm surprised as anybody else that,
Yeah, their diesel prices are the lowest around I've seen,
Yeah.
so. Yeah, very popular. You have to usually, there's 2 or 3 cars in front of you and try to get fuel at that
I
location.
know. And then one of my pet peeves, they fuel up and then they walk into the
Yes, they are.
store.
Instead of moving their car out of the way.
Yeah. Anyway, way off the subject, but that intersection is much busier.
Yeah. it is.
Much busier.
I actually was curious about the Tower Road project is all on schedule and
So the Tower Road project, we shifted focus a little to do the Eric Creek project because of our deadline of obligating the funding, and it's the same consultant. So we told them to focus on the Eric Creek. We're almost done with that design and we'll be shifting back to Tower Road.
which creek?
The Eric Creek
Oh,
culvert
Eric.
on
Oh, okay. I
Abernathy.
didn't hear that.
Yes.
Eric. Okay. So as long as the bridge is open, it's,
The bridge is
Yeah,
open and we will
okay.
be moving forward with the design. This was such a quick turnaround. They didn't have time to be running them parallel.
thank you. I think I sent a question about some design feature. You responded back about
Oh.
whether they're going to use that culvert or not.
Yes, that
Yeah.
culvert that's down in the creek.
Right.
Yes.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
So seeing,
Yeah, I don't think we have anything else that I'm aware of. I'm not seeing anybody else.
seeing as you are operating the landfill as a business, do you give out free samples?
Did you turn off your mic? Did you turn off your mic?
We have 4 jars of knowledge.
Oh,
So
Rick, you're going to the BPAC,
I am
which is 2:00.
Thursday.
The airport board meets this Thursday also. I was there's I've got conflict before and after, so does anybody wish to attend the airport board in my place? How long does it be back?
Usually about an hour.
Did you want to do the airport board?
Is it right after that?
It's at 3:00.
You want me to fill in?
Or whichever.
I was actually gonna head off to Idaho after the BPAC.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So maybe if Commissioner Weber wants to fill in that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I was thinking of you just because you have less familiarity with.
And I would if I was around, I'd be more than happy to.
And you know where this one is gonna be at the council chambers.
Oh, well,
I'll forward you the email.
okay. That'd be perfect. Thank you.
Okay, do we have anything else? We'll adjourn this meeting. Thank you, guys.